I'd like you to put yourselves in the shoes of the two men from going to Emmaus. They were probably, in their late teens, 17, 18, 19, because they walked 7 miles. And, when it's getting closer to dark, if they weren't healthy enough, they probably wouldn't have traveled that far. So they're on their way home. They were not the top tier of, the disciples. They weren't the apostles. They weren't, the elders, so to speak. They were the second tier. They were faithful. Not a lot of experience, but a lot of heart. Imagine what it was like for them when they heard that Jesus was crucified. Their dreams were crushed. Their spirits were crushed. And it seemed that their life was falling around them. So they were on their way home to try to start again. They were talking about the events. Maybe they were arguing with each other, debating, what if? And right in their midst comes Jesus. And when he asked them, what's going on? It was almost like a stab wound. They looked down. They're probably sad, maybe a little angry. And it's, don't you know anything? Don't you know what happened here this past week? Where were you? And when he started to explain the scriptures, all what they lived for before started to bubble up again. And it finally came to a boil when he broke bread. The message in Luke today, besides just relating another story about the resurrection, was for those who did not see Jesus. And those people include yourselves and myself. We have never seen the risen Lord, but we have experienced the risen Lord. When I was ordained a priest, one of my goals in my priesthood was, when it came time for homily or whatnot, that I would give the faithful something to think about. Some weeks are better than others, but I can see in your eyes, if I'm having a good day, the cogs are turning. And people have told me over the years that, they'd go home and they'd talk about the homily during the week. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm trying to do what Jesus did to the two men going home to Emmaus. He reminded them what the faith is all about. Part of that faith comes by reflection. It comes by, learning whatever your catechism, talking about Scripture, talking about life. It does include reflection. It does include actions. But the most important aspect of it, to truly see the Lord, is in the breaking of the bread. When you come to Mass, you're listening to the homily and you're trying to get something out of the homily, which is good. After the homily, what happens to you? Does your brain shut down, so to speak? At least she's honest. If your brain doesn't shut down, where are you? Are you in the moment with Eucharist? Do you recognize Jesus in your midst? That's the whole point. When we gather to pray, two or more, then Christ is in our midst. And hopefully, when we come to church, it isn't something that's blasé. It isn't something, that you have to endure. But a time that the flame of faith not just bubbles to the surface because of the homily, but bursts into flame because Jesus is in our midst. Are not our hearts burning within us? Listen, reflect, proclaim. That's what we do every week here. Journey. Allow Christ to speak. And like the two, once Christ has spoken, go and proclaim that the Lord was in your hearts and in your midst.